And the show goes on. And this one is all about voodoo, about criminality and about corruption. All in all, I stayed 10 days or 12 days in Jerusalem. And for me it was kind of, I loved it. It was kind of Salah ad-Din. I felt like a fish in the water. And the big boss, the British, he wanted me to initiate in secrets who weren't secrets anymore for me. How to manage people, how to manage men, how to instruct, how to train people, how to run a security control center and all this stuff. I knew all this stuff already, but he wanted me to do it on his way. And I think he was wrong, because everything in life, I do it my way. And anyway, the British guy, the fat boy, he was strange. He never shake hands with the Palestinian guys. He don't spoke their language. He didn't like them. I don't know why he was manager in Jerusalem. I don't know. For me, all this was a very strange situation, because in the French religion, I was learned to live, to be friend with all people, with all nations, with all races, with all religions. Knowing that in the French religion we had men coming from more than 140 nations, all cultures, all religions, all colors. And it felt good with me, being among all this in a diversity like this, Felt good. And I was learned to be just, I was learned to be friendly, I was learned not to be a racist. I was learned to have a sharp eye on people who were liars, who were not just, who were just word in their head and who lived through wrong saying. And I really loved the idea to make a telephone call to Strike Level 4 in London, to the London head office, to tell them, hey boys, this is good, Jerusalem, this should be my job, this should be my post here, I want to work here, because I like the people there, and I speak the language, I speak the Arabic language perfectly, and this was good, this is good, I should stay here, and why don't you send the big boy to Haiti on my place? This was maybe the best solution for everybody. Because to work with people you like, it's good for both sides. And when I understood one thing from my 10 days in Jerusalem, that was that for the British guy, everything was around. Everything was about money. Money, and to show them, the Palestinian guys, that they are superior than everybody, British overall and the rest, and fuck the rest. And for me, it was not good. It was not good. It's not a good, this is not a good mindset. Because I worked with people, and all the men I work with and all the women I work with, we are brothers, and we are all the same. It's not all about money. It's all about take good care. It's all about friendship. It's all about the job good done. That's it. And this is my secret. After a little bit less than 2 weeks, I was informed that I have to join the headquarters of Strike Level 4 in London, the London head office. So I took the next plane from Tel Aviv to London Heathrow, and I had a meeting with the big boss there. Meeting with the big boss. And the big boss in London told me that in Haiti, the place I should be the boss for the next couple of months, actually they have a lot of problems with alcohol, with drugs, with girls, problems with the laziness of people. And I asked the boss, the big boss, who was my predecessor and what has he done to handle all this situation, all the thing with alcohol, drugs and girls and all the bullshit, laziness, And he told me a strange story. He told me that my predecessor was a French colonel, retired French colonel, and one day there was a car parking in front of the villa, because in Haiti, where they live, where they work from, was a villa, and in front of the villa there was a car parking, and the car blocked the entrance. So he went out to to look for the man who drove the car. And apparently the colonel was drunken. And when the man came, he told him to move his car, but the man was not willing to move the car. So the colonel took out a knife, and he stick the knife into the tires. And while doing this, he was wounding himself on his hands, And then he went to the doctor, and he let the company pay for the treatment and all this stuff. But this was a word story, and I did not believe one only word. I don't know what happened. It was strange. It was a strange story. Bullshit story, I think so. So when the meeting was almost finished, the big boss called the secretary. The secretary gave me an MBNA credit card with a PIN. She gave me about $1,000 cash, a little bit more than $1,000 cash. She gave me also a flight ticket from Heathrow to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. And while being transferred by taxi from the head office to Heathrow, I thought it over and I thought it over and I thought it over again. And in my head, I came to the conclusion that everything was, the words they spoke to me and the behavior from the big boss, firstly, was strange. And secondly, they let me believe, I left the office with the belief that the contract in Haiti should go on for the next 4 years. But I was wrong. But I didn't know it. I didn't know it. I was fucking wrong. And this was a big point afterwards. And the next big point for me was that the big boss from London, the boss from Strike Level 4, he's a former policeman. He was normally an honest guy. But I always had the feeling that he lied to me. I always had the feeling that he didn't tell me the truth, or he was hiding something from me. Something I should know for the good of everybody. So I flew out from London Heathrow to John F. Kennedy Airport with the feeling also that in the big game I was the center. There was one piece missing. And this piece was the truth. I was not afraid. I was curious. But I didn't feel comfortable. Because I'm a man who loved the truth. This is very important to my mind. So I stayed one night in the John F. Kennedy Airport in a hotel close to the John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. And while being there, I made myself a little bit more intelligent, and I found out that my predecessor, the French retired colonel, he was, before joining the Haiti mission, he was head of the security for Jean-Marie Le Pen. So he was a man from the ultra-right wing in France. And for me it was unbelievable, because we have to understand that Haiti was the first nation ever, the first black nation to obtain their independence. So they were very proud people, proud to be black also, black people. And sending there as their boss, because he had the colonel and me after him, we had about 135 Haitians working for us, so black people, Haitian national people working for us. And how could they accept a man as their boss who is kind of racist, who is coming from the ultra right wing in France? It's unbelievable. Couldn't work. So a lot of things happened in my head. Something was wrong. The whole story was something really weird. And one day after, I took the plane to Haiti from John F. Kennedy Airport directly to Port-au-Prince in Haiti. And when during the flight, I checked a little bit out the CVs from my 3 English supervisors French supervisors who should work with me there. And one was a former policeman. The CV was good. The next one was a kind of French autodidact. And this third one should be an interesting guy. And when I believe the papers, a big tall guy, he was championing kickboxing, you know, and he stated in his CV that he was a former legionnaire, and he stayed 5 years as a sniper in the Fan for a Legion. So I should know him. But I didn't believe everything was written in their CV books, because some things didn't match. And when I landed in Port-au-Prince, the French guy, the kickboxer, you know, the former legionnaire, it was him who picked me up there. And when we were on the way to Pétionville in a kind of Jeep, it was a Toyota Jeep, he was kind of looking, he was dressed like a cowboy, you know, with dark sunglasses like a cowboy, of Wild West and things like this. And during our transition from Port-au-Prince to Pétionville, he showed me he had a Glock pistol, and he showed me his ammunition, and I couldn't believe my eyes, because this was doom ammunition. And this ammunition, this kind of ammunition, you know better than I do, was forbidden. And we were working for the French embassy, for the European Commission in Haiti. And the ammunition was against all laws. It was forbidden. And he told me that even the regional security officers wears or have ammunition like this. And for the regional security officer, it was good having ammunition like this. And I said, wow, what happened here? Because I was somebody who told me and myself, I will not use ammunition like this, because I knew what an ammunition like this could make in the body. It was horrible, it was terrible. In my Legionnaire's life, I learned to respect the enemy. That's why I never used doom ammunition, never. Because doom or expanding ammunition is horrible, is terrible, is not human. Later on, I should find out that the CV of the kickboxer, of the legionnaire, is a fake. He faked his CV. And I should find out that the supervisor, the French supervisor who's working with me in the team under my orders, the policeman, he was a drug abuser, a heavy drug abuser. But my biggest fear was not the voodoo, was not the criminality, it was not the corruption. My biggest fear was to lose my identity, to be one day like them, to become one of them. And this was, to be honest, my biggest fear. But I think that never happened. That never happened. I'm turning round, following my feelings crazy, out of bound, searching brothers in arms. Turning round, following my feelings crazy, out of bound. Here we are, here you are, here I am, moving towards invincibility. Searching for a no man's land, fighting, praying, celebrating victory. Turning round, do it with real sound. Following my spirits crazy, out of bound.